Oh, my glasses. I sand all of them.
I don't want that. Get those off. You'll scratch.
How am I going to get it off? I'm trying.
Very carefully. I don't know why you have them with you.
They fell. I need them. Ask me.
So tell me about the traditional Thanksgivings.
Okay, so what I remember most was in Arkansas. That's when I was my happiest, and Dad would make all these pies from scratch. I think the crust too. He'd make it all the night before, and then he'd have usually me and Doreen. We would break stale white bread, just cheap white bread, and we put it in this big stock bucket. And then Mom would cook her celery and onions and sausage and stuff and seasonings.
Well, how old were you then?
I think I might have been 9 or 10. Those.
So it was about 1970?
It was the early 70s. And we were in Little Rock. That was my favorite time. And Mom and Dad always got real happy around the holidays. So
Why?
Thanksgiving, they just did.
You mean Thanksgiving and Christmas?
They just did. They did real well. But Dad had to work a lot. He worked a lot, including weekends pretty much, just to get, make sure we had a turkey and all that stuff. And then they decorate Christmas starting the day after Thanksgiving. And Mom would be singing Johnny Mathis Christmas songs. And we'd just be in a good mood. And then on Christmas time, I think Leon and Doreen and them would remember, instead of like a stocking with candy and chocolate, we didn't get that. We got a grocery bag that had oranges and nuts and the cheap Christmas hard candy that you liked. And we just bypassed the oranges and nuts just to get candy. And then we'd get a box of, at Christmas time, we'd get a box of chocolate-covered, real cheap chocolate-covered cherries. And that was a goodie. Little boxes of candy, clothes, always something we wanted, games, piles. There would be like 100 presents under the Christmas tree.
Where was this?
In Little Rock. I loved it. So my best memories...
Where did you live before Little Rock?
Illinois, Springfield.
You don't remember that at all, huh?
I hardly remember any of that.
Well, how old were you when you left?
Maybe 9. So Doreen remembers, even though she was younger, she remembers Illinois. But I have lots of memories of Little Rock. It was my best time. Leon's best time, I think, was in California. He started surfing. His hair was bleached from being on the beach.
How long were you in Little Rock?
We were in Little Rock, I think, I'm not sure, but maybe, it seemed like a long time, 4 or 5 years. Doreen would know. And we moved because, first of all, Dad was really sick, but the weather, tornadoes.
4 or 5 years, did you say?
I think so. I think so. So there was still some racial stuff going on, and Nadine went to Central High, and so when school was let out, they would let it out by putting on the fire alarm and getting on the intercom and telling you to go quickly to your home and don't stop. That's how the end of school was.
Where did you go after Little Rock?
We went to
Torrance?
Long Beach, first Long Beach, California. I hated it. I hated
How old were
everything
you
about
then?
California. Might have been like 12, 13. I hated California. I did not fit in. Leon loved it.
Why?
He just took to the ocean. He surfed, he skateboarded. He wanted to be on the beach. He would probably spend the night if he could.
Oh, that's right. He loves to surf.
He loves it. His hair was bleached white.
What about your mother?
White.
What did she think about it?
She hated she loved that Leon surfed, but she hated California.
Your dad?
He hated it.
How long were you there?
I'd say maybe California 2 years tops. We hated it. There was gang stuffs. We lived in Torrance, so there were gangs. We weren't in the best of neighborhoods at all. Not the worst, but just not.
What was the number one thing that happened there that you remember?
good or bad.
Well,
There was nothing good that I remember.
well, then it would have to be something bad.
Bad was probably the schools were bad. Gangs, these little tough gangs were there. It just wasn't safe. You couldn't go walking really alone. It wasn't safe. It wasn't pretty. The grass was brown. A few times I went to the beach, I liked it.
Let me back up a little bit here.
I liked Oregon. I loved Arkansas.
So does Arkansas, that's where that guy was trying to kidnap you?
Yeah,
How old were you then?
I'd say I might have been 10, 11. So I had to walk home from school.
Can you remember what happened that day?
Yeah, so I was walking home from school alone.
Speak up a little bit.
So I was walking home from school alone, and this man was behind me. And he was about 20 feet behind me. But if I crossed the road, there were just these tar roads with ditches and alleyways. He would cross again, and he would cross. And it was May, just before school ended.
So you're about how old?
11 maybe, 10, 11. And so every house had a little alleyway. And I noticed he would speed up and get close to me, and I could hear him breathing. I was too afraid to run because I felt embarrassed, like I'd hurt his feelings. I can't believe I felt that. And I could see a man mowing the lawn, and all of a sudden I heard him come behind me real quick, and he put one arm between my legs, one arm over me, and lifted me like a sack of potatoes. Never said a word, carried me towards the alley, and towards the alley there was a car, and I was looking upside down. I didn't scream. I could see the man mowing his lawn upside down, and then the man put me down and took off real fast. It was stinky and sweaty, and I stood there for a minute, and then I ran as fast as I could home. I ran, and I told Mom and Dad, and they called the police. And the police showed up. There were a lot of police, and turns out they were investigating a man who was abducting children. I don't remember anything else about it, because my Mom and Dad seemed embarrassed a little bit. Mom felt bad because we walked home from school, but we only had one car and Dad worked.
Did you tell the kids at school?
No. I don't remember much other than feeling ashamed somehow. I felt really bad that somehow I made that happen or something. I didn't do enough to stop it. But I'm very lucky.
You were just 11 years old.
I'm very lucky that he put me down because I didn't scream. I didn't fight. I was just a real passive little girl.
Scared.
And I don't remember what happened. A bunch of police came over, and I remember they asked questions about what he looked like. The car, did you see a car? And what his height? They asked these questions, but they seemed to have somebody in mind. I remember nothing after that afterwards. My mom never talked about it. My dad never talked about it.
But it remained something very indelible in your life.
Yeah.
Hold on a second, I gotta change positions. Well, after Arkansas, you moved to California, and you hated it there.
Hated it. Long Beach.
And you were, what, 13, 14 there?
Early teens. I'd say 13 seems about it. And I remember when we left Arkansas, it seems we were going through some southern state. I want to say Texas or something. I don't know how we would have traveled to get to California. I don't know. But there was a twin tornado attached. We were at a rest stop with a bathroom. And it was me and Leon and Doreen, and we were in one of the bathrooms. And the adults were all panicking, and Leon was trying to hold me up so I could see the tornado. And it was kind of scary, but I loved the tornadoes. I loved the excitement. Mom hated it. She hated it.
So, Leon loved the tornado.
I loved them. Leon did too.
Leon. What about Doreen?
I think she was scared, but I think I don't recall. I just knew I was so into it that
But you don't remember what state this was?
I don't remember. So we were leaving Arkansas, and it was the year after it was a big tornado thing that happened. I think it was in 72. And it was this massive thing of tornadoes hitting the Midwest, Arkansas being the one, and Mom saying, I want out of here. So I think it was in 72, and it was an outbreak it's in the history. It was such a bizarre storm system thing.
So do you remember arriving in Oregon? And that was in Hillsboro, right?
Yeah, we were looking on the map. It's towns like Beaverton, going, who lives in a town called Beaverton? And then when we got to Oregon, we stopped at a little store, and we called it Oregon. And I remember people saying, you must be from California.
But what brought you to Hillsboro? That's where you...
Dad found a job. He found his job in Beaverton, and we found a house in Hillsboro, and Dad, you know,
is that the one on Cornell?
It was on a street, called Darnell, I think, or another one, Azalea Street. Azalea.
To
First
Cornell.
house we lived in, and Mom was happy. We all seemed pretty happy. Dad was happy. There were always health problems with Mom and Dad, always.
But the first place I thought you lived over there was in Shoals Ferry.
No, that was a third place.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Azalea, then Shoals, then Darnell, then Cornell.
So you lived in that place over there in Shoals where you worked at the nursery.
Right. I think we only lived there 1 year. Dad had I loved it. Dad had a massive health scare. He bled out, and we had to move to Hillsboro.
And you worked at a nursery, and some guy was trying to touch you there.
That was, Leon would know who it is, Steve Gold, who's a pig. And I had this little lady named, I want to say Maggie, little tough little lady, and she would keep her eyes on him. Anytime he got me, he wanted me for something, she was this tiny little lady with a big beehive hairdo, and she was on him.
You mean to keep him from doing anything?
Oh yeah. He'd put his hand on my butt.
You were about 15 or 16?
Mm-hmm. And he was a Mormon, and I shouldn't have said his last name, but he just, big Mormon, all religious, and all acting like everything's right, but he was just, the younger the better. And I was young, and there was a little Hispanic girl named Rafaela, and he would try to get at her too. And Maggie, who had she managed the girls, she would watch him. They never fired Maggie. She kept it. Huh?
Go ahead, you never fired Maggie.
Well, because Steve had his job from the owner of the company. He was married to one of the owner's daughters. And Maggie knew about Steve, but they never fired Maggie. She just kept it quiet. She wasn't a Mormon.
What about the house? Did you like the house?
I loved the house. Mom was in the kitchen. She seemed really happy. She'd be baking. Then she got stir crazy. She didn't have a car. We only had one car.
That's right. We went back there. We have pictures of that. We have not shown them to Doreen or Leon.
But I think they'd be hurt that it changed so. They would not remember that kitchen at all. I know you liked it, but it was not. It was a 50s style kitchen.
Now.
Big and open with a big white stove.
And then tell me about you and Doreen walking down the road to the store.
Oh yeah, so we'd walk, and it was a few miles barefoot in the heat, and I told her there was this country store, and I thought it would be open. We got there it must have been in the 90s. It was so hot, and we'd actually have to walk on the white strips on the road just to get our feet cool, and we'd get to the store, and it was closed. We were so disappointed. I think Doreen was crying. And then we found a little bridge area, and we would spit in the creek.
And you'd walk there sometimes by yourself?
Mm-hmm.
So dangerous.
Different time. You could.
And then you met me. That was
30 years later.
A little later, huh?
But my favorite time was, I liked the house in Shoals. Mom and Dad loved Cornell. They had a lot of good memories in that house. And but it started getting pretty bad in the back of the house, the people living there. But they had a lot of good memories there. Like Mom says, a lot of nice Christmases. And then Hillsboro started changing. And of course Dad died, and we were all too scared to have Mom there alone.
Yeah. And then you went to the beach with me.
Oh, this is a perfect day. Show it. It's just on a Thursday. I'm so tired. Okay. All done.
Bye-bye.
I gotta get up. Bye-bye. I got all melancholy.
Tell me about your melancholy.
I'm just thinking about, I had a lot of good memories. I don't want to think about Mom and Dad when they were sick, though they were sick a lot. I don't want to think about that.
What's your best things you remember?
About Mom and Dad?
Yeah, I guess so, yeah.
Well, I liked when Dad worked 5 days and it was his Friday. He would come home so happy, just happy. And he'd buy me something to eat when I lived there. And he'd be happy. Sometimes Mom was happy. Mom loved to go to bingo. She was, you know, that's when she was happy. They had their moments where they liked to go out, maybe camping or something. They didn't do it a lot. Well, they couldn't. So my best times are when they were really happy and they felt good, of course.
What about the time you were talking about Leon doing something strange to someone and then they got back to him and grabbed him? Your kids were there.
So this was in Arkansas, and Leon and me and Doreen were playing in this creek. And this creek was awesome. It had, first of all, had water moccasins in it, and it had the crystals coming out of the rock. But there was this house, and Leon would take rocks. He saw a man over there, and he'd throw the rock and hit their wall or car or something, and then the man would turn around and look, and we'd duck. We kept doing that, and then Leon stands up to throw another rock, but the man had gone around the creek behind us and grabbed Leon. I think he picked him up by the ears. And he was so scared. Leon was so scared. And then I think I recall Leon saying, "Don't tell Mom and Dad." Yeah, that was fun. One bad thing we did was throw toads in the air.
Leon was all boy, right?
Yeah, Leon was a boy. He built a go-kart that was fun, and we'd go down this hill. Yeah, Leon, he was a boy. He built a go-kart, and he had it all. You turn it, you know, with a string, turn it one way, it would go, and he'd let us get on it. That was in Arkansas, my favorite times.
You look really cute right now. Is this really darling?
Probably, for me, remembering Arkansas. For Leon, California. For Doreen, I don't know. Nadine always had to work at a young age.
Yeah.
They gave her leeway, though. You know, she got to go out. But for me, Arkansas. Another funny thing was we would go to this grocery store named Kroger's, and we started stealing. We started stealing because of a boy named Kenny Buckle, so introduced us to this. We said, "You can steal." Well, I loved chocolate, and so I had shorts under my little skirt, and these shorts had 5 pockets. And I went into Kroger's. I was just a kid, maybe 9, I think, and I put Hershey's candy bars in every pocket. And when we left the store, Kenny said, "Start crying." That's the first thing he said. And we turned around to these adult men saying, "Wait a minute." And they grabbed us Kenny Buckles is crying a river. I can't cry like that. Doreen and Leon, I don't know, they were crying. Anyhow, they took us in the office, and when it came to me, there were all these adults going, "You got to see something." And I was thinking maybe they're perverts. I was a little bit worried. I was, because here are these adult men going, "Lift up your skirt." I was a little bit worried. Well, their cameras caught us, and I was the one with shorts with 5 pockets and all the candy. And they said this was a smart girl or something like that. And they laughed at it, and they said, "We're going to tell your parents. Your parents are going to come pick you up, and you can't come in the store anymore."
Do they not let you keep the candy?
They let me have a candy bar because I was so scared. I didn't see Kenny Buckles. He was separated.
How old were you?
I was maybe 10, maybe. I probably was 10, I think.
So it was you and
Doreen, Leon, and Kenny Buckles.
Kenny Buckles. What a name.
Kenny Buckles. He smoked. He
Wow.
smoked. He was 11.
Upperclassman.
Huh?
Upperclassman.
Yeah, he smoked. Oh, this cute dog. Look, oh, look at that cutie. Mom and Dad acted like they were mad and later told us that they thought it was so funny. They made us stand with our heads to the wall. That's how you were punished back then, while they turned on like our favorite show. We couldn't watch it.
My theft story was right here in Pacific City, where we ran lived and ran in the Breezin Cafe, but next to us was this big general store. Well, I'd go into the back of the store where they had all these pop bottles stored, right? Empty pop bottles. And I'd take a bunch of them, bring them around to the front.
That's something I would do. No wonder we're perfect. No wonder we're perfect. Me with my, I never thought about that. Me with my pockets and you literally taking back their own merchandise.
I thought I was pretty cool then. Actually, I never got caught doing that either.
Oh my God.
Couldn't make a lot of money that way though.
No, but you were a kid.
Yeah, I was 10.
You were poor. We were poor in a way. You were poorer.
Yeah.
I remember they said, "What made you think of that?" They were so curious. What made me and not the others think of that? Of course, it was to get as much chocolate as I could. Only Hershey's candy bars. Kenny Buckles. Mom would laugh at him. Believe it or not, Mom would actually give him a cigarette.
I don't know what this is getting, but I don't know about you, but I can go to sleep right now, right on this log.
We're tired. We're tired.
Thank you. That was good.